Hey out there, Slot Car Land. How's everybody doing this fine week? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's starting their racing seasons off. I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook about new seasons starting and all that stuff. It looks like everybody's finally starting to get back into the normal routine of having racing seasons over the winter and all that kind of stuff. Ours starts on the 26th of this month of September. We'll be starting at Stan's house. Our races are on Sundays. We'll be starting at Stan's house with stock T-Jets and 440 X2s without traction magnets and whatever Stan comes up with for the promoter's choice round. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming up. Next weekend, we're going down to Portland to open up their season down there in Portland with the Fozar boys running on a brand new track for them. This will be at Ron's house. There's a money race with magnet traction cars, which we're looking forward to racing with. Me, Elijah, and Shaden are all going down. So I'll tape some of that. I might even do some live stuff talking with Reggie, who is their head of their group down there, about the Fozar group and giving them some props and stuff and letting you guys know a little bit about their club and whatnot. So we'll be down there on Saturday, next Saturday, racing with them, and I'll tape a couple of the races to be able to come home and do some editing and put them up for you guys so you can see. Definitely want to do the the magnet traction money race, and probably tape another one too for you guys so we can show that for you guys so you guys can enjoy all that action. So today I thought we would talk about, since we're running this car in class this year, I thought we would talk about the Jonny Lightning and the Autoworld Thunderjet. I believe they still call this the Thunderjet 500. Autoworld calls theirs the Thunderjet Ultra Gs. This is the same company that this was. Mantis or whatever. Playing Mantis, and then the new owners, who are Round 2 Hobbies, bought them out and just continued the line on, and then changed the car slightly. But I thought we would talk about some things that you can do to this car, some easy stuff, and then some a little bit advanced stuff that you guys can do to these cars to make them run better on the racetrack. So the first thing you're going to want to do now, this car has been out of the package, but it has never been ran, and I haven't done anything to it. I took it out of the package to take the body off, to run a body on one of my other cars a while back. But I haven't done anything to the chassis on this car. So we're going to use this one as our base car. I've got another one here in the package, but I don't want to quite open that one yet. I'm saving that car for down the road or whatnot. But we'll take a look at this. And the first thing you're going to want to do with these cars, you will need a tech block for this, is make sure that your chassis is 100% flat. That is the first thing you should really do with these cars, is either, if you have a tech block with a through and through hole, so you've got a tech block on one side and you've basically got a car setup block on the other side, is you want to make sure that your chassis is 100% flat. Because if not, you might as well not even run the car. That's the first thing you need to check on your cars, is to make sure that they're completely flat. Because if they're not, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have the car turning off on right-hand or left-hand corners, depending on which way it's off and all that kind of stuff. So you can start by doing it this way with the tires on it. And as you can see, this car is pretty good. It's not teetering back and forth from one side to the other. So it is a pretty good flat chassis, so this would be a good car to start with. Another way you can check it too is to tear the car completely down to bare chassis. This is a Jonny Lightning version, and you can get some axle blanks that go all the way through, that stick out about this far on the car, and you can set it on this side of your tech block and see if one of those is up or not. That way you're checking your chassis to see if it's completely flat. This way can also be deceiving. The car could be off this way, and if it is, then you probably want to take it completely down to the bare chassis and do it the other way, because if it's flat this way but it's not flat this way with your tires on it, you have a different diameter tire somewhere on your car, and you're going to need to find which one it is and change it out. that'd be the easy fix. If you find out that it's off this way, but it's not this way, then you have a tire out around, or a tire with a flat spot, or a tire that is slightly smaller than the rest of the tires on your car, and you're going to need to change that. Hopefully that's what happens. That's an easy fix, easy change. You're done. It's a flat chassis. So the next thing you're going to want to do, that's an easy fix, that you don't really need a lot of tools for, is to take the body off the car, and you're going to want to see, you can still see this still has some of the stock factory grease in there. You're going to want to take this car apart and 100% clean it. Get all of that factory grease and stuff out of there, and switch over to some really good slot car oil. The grease is got way too much, you get way too much resistance from grease than you do from oil, and it's going to slow the car down, and it could eventually, if it's over greased, if it comes in over greased, it could eventually overheat your car and burn up the armature in it. So you definitely want to do that as your next step. Take it, clean it, get it all that cleaned out and everything out of there, and make sure that it's completely clean. Put it back together, oil it right. You oil your top gears, oil your armature pin down on the bottom, and get it running get it running really, really well. Alright, so now after you get all of that cleaned out and you get it all nice and clean and all re-oiled and everything, the next thing you're going to want to do, and you may have to have a shoe setup block for this. Oh, it's over here. Which is what this is. Mine, you can get this at Scale Electric, Scale Engineering, I mean. I believe Wizard also has one on his website. And this has different diameter, different heights for different railed racetracks. So we're setting ours up on a 0.014, which is just a regular clip-together track. So you're going to want to put this on the block and check your shoes. And make sure your shoes are making contact all the way across the top of that block. So you're getting good shoe contact with your shoes on the rails of the track. And if it's not, then you want to pull them off, tweak them a little bit. Another thing you can do is get some really fine sandpaper. This is also from, I believe, Scale Electrics. And sand your shoes to get all the imperfections out of your shoe and to get them set up right. We're going to be doing that on the Frey build here soon. So make sure you check that video out when it comes up. We'll talk about shoe setup on that, on one of those. And you can use that same technique on a Frey car that you can use on your stock T-Jets or your Jonny Lightning cars, or your Magna Traction cars, or any cars, basically any shoes for any car, basically. So after you get that done, and making sure your shoes are running all the way across the rail, those are about the easiest things you can do without too many technical tools. Basically, you need a setup block or a tech block with a through-and-through hole to make sure your chassis is flat. As you can see, this one's from Scale Engineering. This one is from RTHO, if you guys need to know where to go. And then another thing that you could also use a piece of track. Any track that you have that's basically a piece of what you run on a consistent basis, and do the same thing with your shoes with it that you can with the setup block. So it's a little easier with the shoe setup block than it is with a piece of track, but a piece of track will work as well. So the next couple of things you're going to need some tools for. You're going to need a gear press, and you're going to need a pinning tool. Is basically what you want to do. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take, and you can do this when you're taking the car apart to clean it. So after you get it apart, you get it all clean. Ooh, this clip is on here tight. There we go. After you get it, once you got it apart and you've got it all clean, the other things you want to check are your rear gear. You want to make sure that you don't have a lot of movement this way, up and down. Another thing you want to check is your armature, and you don't want a whole lot of this. As you can see, that motor is moving a lot. And what that does is when it's inside your chassis and it's rotating, the magnets will want to pull it either way on the gear plate, and it binds up the motor. So what you want to do is take your gear press and press this down. Basically, go check out the video of us installing the armature on the Frey build. Same technique, same thing here. You're just already pressing a gear that's already on there a little tighter to get rid of this wobble in your armature. The other thing, like I said back here, you do the same thing back here. You can tighten this up. This isn't bad, but these are plastic gears, and plastic gears are known to wear a little bit, and the older it gets, you'll get a lot more slop back there. And what it's doing is it's not getting a very good connection with your spur gear on your axle. It's wanting to ride up and down, and occasionally if it gets too bad and goes too high, it could start wearing the teeth harder than normal, and you're going to have an issue there. So that's another thing you're going to want to do with these cars. Once you get them, especially when you get it apart like this, if it's a really, and as you can see, this gear here has a very short pin on the bottom. You actually want a little more showing off of the bottom of that than what's on this motor. So once you get that all done, make sure when you're doing the armature on there, you're not getting it too tight, because it will cause issues and cause overheating in your car as well. The next thing you're going to want is a pinning tool. These come in really handy, especially with these cars. As you can see, this car has not been run a whole hell of a lot, and you can really see a lot of axle movement, both horizontal and vertical on this car. So what you want to do is take your pinning tool, go take a look at the video of playing around with the pinning tool, and you'll see what we're talking about. Now, I did pin this one, and as you can see on these cars, as the longer they get, the worse it gets. As you can see, that one and these two have also, this one's not as bad as that one, but this one is really bad, and you can actually feel it around in there. And what that causes, basically it causes the same thing in these cars that it causes in a real race car. When you're braking, it's causing wheel hop. So where it really hurts you is both off the throttle and on the throttle. So when you let off the throttle going into a corner, that axle is going to vibrate and cause vibration. And it's going to cause the tires to lose contact with the racetrack. And it's going to cause the car to get very unstable. It also is notorious on throttle with these cars. If you ever had these cars brand new out of the package, put them on the track, and you grabbed a handful of throttle, it just vibrated itself right off the racetrack. So by pinning it, you're causing it to not have that much. As you can see, this one's been pinned, and there's not as much movement. I got to redo it again. It seems to be getting a little worse, but you want to do that, and it'll get rid of that really bad movement in there, and it'll cause the axle to run smooth both on the throttle and off the throttle, so it's not causing that huge vibration down the racetrack. These cars, especially the Johnny Lightning cars, when they were new, and I got a funny feeling that's why Autoworld went to this traction magnet, was to pull the chassis down to the racetrack further to try and eliminate that axle movement in the back, because it's pulling the chassis down, so it pulls the axle up to the top of the wheel hole on the chassis, and they're trying to get rid of that vibration on and off the throttle. So you want to make sure that you pin your rear end on these cars, even if it's brand new. As you can see, this is a brand new chassis, and it's still got quite a bit of movement back there. So if you pin it, you're going to eliminate a lot of that rear wheel hop with the car on the throttle and off the throttle to eliminate that hop and get better traction and get better handling in the corners, especially going in and coming out. And it's going to really take care of that wheel hop. Another thing that you can do, and I found these at Jag Hobbies, they have aftermarket, basically Tough One rear hubs, which is basically the exact same size and style as the hubs used on both the Johnny Lightnings and the Autoworlds, that you can buy, that are really well made. They're very well centered wheels, and they install really easy, and they really improve both the grip of the tire on the hub, and they really also help with centering to make sure that you don't get a wheel hop on the axle from that end as well. So, and they've also got a great selection of rear tires that fit that hub and the stock hubs, and you can get them as small as 319 from Jag Hobbies. Now you wouldn't be able to run a 319 on the Autoworld car because of that traction magnet. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we dubbed either or in our series this year, is because of that particular issue. Is that you got a Johnny Lightning car, or you can run the Autoworld car. With the Johnny Lightning car, you've got the advantages of, especially on Stan's routed track, 319s are too small for my track. I've already tried it, and I get a lot of gear chatter on the racetrack and not a lot of grip. And I think these are the next step up. These are either 320s or 322s, and they work great. But on Stan's track, I bet you I could run the 319s and be lower to the racetrack. With the Autoworld car, you will not be able to run a 319 on a Bowman or a routed track, because even that's too low for that magnet, because that magnet actually sticks down further. As you can see, it's even further down, and once you compress the shoe on this car, if I can hold it for you guys, you can see that lip and how much taller it is compared to the rest of the chassis. So, and it's even almost even with the rear gear. So you're going to be limited by your tire height on these cars because of that magnet. And we've mandated that if you run the Autoworld car in our class, that traction magnet has to be in that slot. You cannot remove it, and you cannot grind down the holder. It has to be a stock chassis with the stock magnet in the car. So you got your choice. And all of us in our group pretty much have Johnny Lightnings and Autoworld cars. So it's not really that much of a deal about which one to get. We've got both of them. It's going to be interesting to see which one of these cars pulls the season out this year, and which one is going to be the best at the end of the season. So that's some things you can do to your Autoworld cars and your Johnny Lightning cars to improve the handling and performance of the cars. We'll do some tinkering with these later in the season. I'll give you an update on how the season's going and who's winning. The first race for these cars in our point season this year is the third race of the year, which will be late October. So, late October, and then I believe the next one would be the first race in December. So once we get 2 races in, we'll come back to this in December, about mid-December, and we'll give you a little update on, who won the first race, who's running what car, and whose cars are performing better. Is it the Autoworld car that's prevailing, or is it the Johnny Lightning car that's prevailing? It's going to be an interesting thing to find out, so we'll have to see. So those are some things you can do with the Johnny Lightning car. Don't forget to refer to that pinning video for the pinning information. I've already done a video on it, so just reference it. It works on no matter what chassis you're working on. So just watch that video. Watch the playing with the pinning episode, or the installing of the rear axle on the Frey video. We use the pinning tool on both of those. If you want to figure out how to use the gear anvil, go check out our video of installing the armature on the Frey build. I also believe we also did it on a couple other videos as well, but definitely check out the Frey video of installing the motor on the motor plate. Using the anvil, how to use it, is in that video as well. The places that you can find the tools that we use today, you can find the anvil and this tech block at rtho.com. You can find the pinning tool, the pickup shoe setup block, and this particular chassis setup block at scaleengineering.com. So go check out those 2 sites. And both of those sites are listed at slotcarcrazy.com under Frey Tools. and I think we also have a tool section, so they're listed in both spots there. So you can find these tools there. The sanding block for your shoes, I think this is a Scale Engineering item, so check out for it there. If not, all you need is some really fine sandpaper, and just be able to hold the sandpaper and hold the shoe and do it that way. You don't necessarily need a block that has the paper glued to it. So those are the things you need for this episode. Those are the things you need, and you really should have these for any car in your box because they all come in really handy. Like I said, the first thing you want to do with a new car is check and make sure that chassis is flat. If it's not flat, you've got problems, and you're not going to be able to be a good car out of it at all. So just do that, and you'll be fine. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope this video helps you guys out a lot. Don't forget, we're going racing next Saturday down in Portland. Look for some live videos. I want to do an interview with Reggie and promote his group a little more on this channel. If you're in the greater Oregon, greater Portland area, I mean, Daryl drives all the way up from Roseburg, and that's an hour, that's a 2.5 hour drive from Roseburg to Portland, and he does it every race weekend. So it's not that hard. Salem's only, if you're in Salem, that's only an hour down the road. If you're in Vancouver, you're only probably 20 minutes away from any of their 5 racetracks. So I want to do an interview with him so we can get his group pitched out there and get his group moved up as well, and get some people into the hobby. So have a great week. I'll catch you guys with that race action live next Saturday, and the videos from that race action that I taped probably up Monday, Tuesday-ish. So be on the lookout for that. The week after that, we're probably going to be doing a bi-weekly feature car if I can find one that we haven't shown yet. And then after that, we've got some other things to do. We've got some more work on the freight car. We've got pickup shoe setup and installing tires and stuff with that. So we got to do that. And then we've got that to do. We've got I got to call around for some parts for the pan build, for the brass pan build. Hopefully we can start that here soon. We got to get back to the Super 2 build. We got to get back to the 3x5 build. We got to get that ready for the point season. We got to get a couple legs made for it, and we got to redo the wall. So I got to buy some MDF for that. So we'll be working on that as well. And then we've got some other car stuff to be doing. Probably some setup stuff. Talk to you guys about setting up cars for our season and all that good stuff. So be on the lookout for all of that stuff coming up. Have a great week. I'm out. And remember, keep that pin in the slot, the wheels on the downside. Keep racing slot cars. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Bye.